Good afternoon. I have the honor of convening the 90th commencement of the University of New Haven. As Chair of the Board of Governors, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this joyous occasion. Today we celebrate the achievement of our graduates and recognize their years of hard work, commitment, and self-sacrifice. We also applaud their families and friends for their support and encouragement. Please join me in recognizing the New Haven County Firefighters Emerald Society Pipe and Drum and the UNH Jazz Combo. Would you please stand as Christina Tomarelli, an English and Communication major and a member of the class of 2014, leads us in singing our national anthem, and Martin J. O'Connor, alumnus, campus minister, and member of the faculty, delivers the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you, Christina. Shakespeare concludes one of his sonnets with the line, "Love that well which thou must leave ere long." Well, today our graduates take leave of what we trust they have loved. After 2 or 4 or more years, our graduates gather in an unfamiliar place. They will sit quietly for a bit, and then they will receive their diplomas from President Kaplan and walk off this stage to take on the adventures and the challenges that await them. And today, each of our graduates and each of us ask the same question that another extraordinary poet, Mary Oliver, has given us. She writes, "Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild, precious life?" And so it's in that spirit that we offer our prayer. Good and gracious one, the source of all that is true and the giver of purpose and meaning to our world and to each of our lives, bless this day and every day. Open our eyes to the mystery of your presence among us. Help us to grow in our love and service of you and one another. Bless those who graduate today. May they flourish in their lives and find satisfaction and joy in all that they do. Help them and each one of us to remember that we are all a part of something much larger than any one of us. Bless all of our students, our faculty, our staff, and all who support our wonderful university. Keep us always faithful to your summons to follow your truth wherever it may lead, because in the end, this will bring us back to you. And we make our prayer this day and every day to a tender and a loving God. Amen.
Please be seated. I would like to thank Christina for her stirring rendition of our national anthem. There we go. And Marty O'Connor for his moving words and commitment to all of our students. Good afternoon, graduates of the class of 2013, parents, families, faculty, staff, friends, alumni, and members of our Board of Governors. I am proud and privileged to celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates today. They have come so far, and it is only fitting that we honor their discipline and their commitment. Let me briefly share a few of their stories to illustrate the passion, drive, and creativity of our students. Carolina Marrero receives a master's degree today in human nutrition. Her creation, Nourishment Knapsacks, contains baby food and important nutrition information and is distributed to families in need. As an undergraduate at UNH, she was a standout on the women's lacrosse team and received the National Community Awareness Award from the Intercollegiate Women's Lacrosse Coaches Association. Lorna Smith Palmer graduates today with a master's degree in criminal justice 25 years after arriving in the United States from her home country of Jamaica. A single mother of two, she persevered to earn an associate degree and a bachelor's degree, which she completed at the University of New Haven. She currently works with special needs children in the Bridgeport school system. Her goal is to become a victim advocate to help people who are victims of domestic violence. Janica Reyes receives her master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology today. She was accepted to participate in the Human Resources Leadership Development Program at Travelers, a highly competitive program with only 3 open positions each year. Also among our graduates today are several members of the university's nationally ranked football team. Players such as Nick Music, Tom Hurd, and Demetrius Washington Ellison helped the team win the Northeast 10 Conference Championship each of the past 3 years. Over the last 4 seasons, these seniors have led the team to an impressive 34-10 record and back-to-back appearances in the Division II NCAA National Tournament. These are but a few of the many remarkable stories represented by today's graduates. Would all of those students who I just recognized please stand to be recognized by the audience? Congratulations to all of them, and of course to all of our graduates. I would now like to ask all of the students who are graduating to stand and please applaud your parents, spouses, and family members, as well as the faculty and staff. And I would now like to ask all faculty, please be seated. This is the exercise you're going to get today, up and down, up and down, up and down. I'd now like to ask all of the faculty and staff who are in attendance, both on the stage and in the audience, to please stand and be recognized by the students and their families. At this time, I would like to recognize our 3 distinguished guests who will be receiving honorary doctorate degrees from the University of New Haven today, and therefore are honorary members of your class of 2013. U.S. Senator Chris Murphy and Board of Governors members Rosa M. Gatti and Stephen Tagliatela. I would also like to recognize the chair of the university's Board of Governors, who you've already met, Phil Bartels, along with the other members of the board in attendance, former board chair Samuel Bergamy Jr., Erica Steiner, and emeriti board members and former chair Robert Alvine. I would also like to wish a welcome to Daniel May, who is our new provost and senior vice president for academic affairs, as well as his wife Cheryl, who's been with the university for exactly 7 days. Dan? It is now my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, and I say our keynote speaker, but he's your keynote speaker, Senator Chris Murphy. Senator Murphy was elected to the United States Senate in 2012. He previously served 3 terms in the U.S. Congress for Connecticut's 5th Congressional District, and before that was a member of the Connecticut General Assembly for 8 years. You'll hear more about Senator Murphy after his talk, but please join me now in welcoming your commencement speaker, Senator Chris Murphy.
Well, thank you very much, President Kaplan, honored faculty, to the board, to the graduates who are receiving degrees here today, and maybe most importantly, to all of those amazing people who have allowed you to get here today. You are appropriately surrounded today by your family, by your parents, by your friends, who have given you the foundation to achieve the greatness that you are going to achieve today. And maybe it is most appropriate to start off today's ceremonies by allowing you to give them a big round of applause for allowing us to have this day today. It's also a tremendous honor for me to be here, to be able to speak to you for a few minutes, to perhaps present you with a small challenge to take from today, and then also to get an honorary Doctor of Letters degree as well. That's especially exciting to me because considering that Congress's approval rating currently hovers somewhere around that of measles, it is a very bold decision on behalf of your faculty and your administration to have me speak here today. And it's a sobering task to give one of these commencement addresses. I've given just a few in my short time in politics, and I know that it's hard to say something that you're going to remember. I know that my commencement speech was a big deal. Actually, the first President Bush came and gave my commencement speech when I graduated from college in 1996. And so let me share with you some of the things that I remember from President Bush's commencement address. And so you can see it's going to be a very tough task here for me today to tell you something that you're going to remember. So let me not try to raise the stakes too high here today. What am I going to do with my 10 minutes? I don't think it'd be real useful for me to stand here and try to inspire you to great big things, to follow your dreams, to live up to some grand purpose. Because frankly, by virtue of the fact that you're here today, that you've made it this far, that you're receiving a graduate degree from one of the most prestigious nationally acclaimed universities we have in Connecticut, you're probably already on your way to big things. And so my speech isn't going to get you there any quicker. So I want to tell you a very short story about how my life has changed and what I have learned just over the last 6 months. Now, my life so far has certainly been dominated by grand gestures, whether it was big elections for things like the House of Representatives and the United States Senate, whether it was major legislative battles over things like health care and tax policy and energy reform. But these last 6 months, I've learned something, and I feel like it's worth passing along to you today. What I've learned is that the small stuff, the ordinary, everyday acts of kindness and generosity, they matter just as much as the big, sprawling themes of your life. Let me tell you how I've learned this. A little more than a month after I won election to the United States Senate, when I was still a member of Congress, a tragedy of almost unspeakable proportion befell a very small town in western Connecticut. As you know, on the morning of December 14th, a madman shot his way into Sandy Hook Elementary School. I was on a train platform that morning in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I was getting ready to head down to New York with my family and my 2 little 4-year-old and 1-year-old sons to show them the holiday splendor of the big city. And then I got a call that something awful had happened. And I turned around and spent the rest of that day and, frankly, the rest of the next week at a firehouse in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, grieving with family and community members and trying to figure out a way that we were going to put the pieces back together. Now, it's days like that, December 14th, that question, what kind of people are we really? Are we truly good inside, or is goodness just a learned behavior that some of us possess? And I'll tell you honestly, that question has been answered thousands of times over for me in the last 6 months. Now, that tragedy was and forever will be defined by that awful 10 minutes of horrifying violence, but what happened surrounding that 10 minutes to me will be the enduring lesson for many of us. It's because during that incident and the days and months after Sandy Hook, as if to swallow up those 10 minutes of evil, millions of acts of infinite kindness rained down on Newtown. Whether it was the teachers that protected the kids on that day, to the volunteer firefighters who stayed on the scene for days and days afterwards with no sleep, to the millions of acts of humanity and gifts and phone calls that came to Newtown and Connecticut from the rest of the world. We know this because of all of the amazing stories that came out of that day and the days after. The parents of a 7-year-old little boy who was killed, they weren't content to allow their son's memory to fade, and so they set up a Facebook page called What Would Daniel Do? I actually wear a bunch of bracelets these days. One of them is for that webpage. And there on that Facebook page, tens of thousands of mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters have shared their messages of love, but more importantly, have told about the little things that they did after Sandy Hook to try to live up to his memory. For instance, there was a Missouri woman who restocked a food pantry in Daniel's name. There was a woman who brought coffee and donuts to a firehouse in New York State. There was an Illinois woman who paid for a stranger's meal, writing "Love from Daniel" on the bill. In the wake of Newtown, we were also reminded that these acts of kindness beget lots of other acts of kindness. After the shooting, gifts and of all shapes and sizes just came into Newtown in droves. Enough stuffed animals, pillows, and other gifts descended on the town that they filled a 20,000 square foot warehouse. They stacked 5 feet high. It was more than the families in the community knew what to do with. So what did they do? They shared it with the rest of the world. Working with a charity, thousands of these gifts were loaded into trucks by volunteers and dispatched all across the country during the holiday season. Military-themed stuffed animals were included in care packages sent to soldiers. Stuffed animals were distributed to ailing kids in the pediatric ward at Monmouth County Medical Center in New Jersey. The police department in Camden, New Jersey, received 100 stuffed animals for its Toys for Tots programs. Father Michael Mannion, who is the chaplain of the Camden Police Department, wrote a thank you letter, and he said, "We provided stuffed animals for emergency vehicles and personnel to be given to accident victims and victims of violence, especially children. This gift will help lighten the hearts and soothe the pain of many, many young and old alike." So I guess what I'm trying to say here is this. For Newtown, this was a place that was a bedroom community where families kind of built their lives in quiet and unassuming ways. Most left during the week for their jobs, and they'd come home to their houses at night. Newtown discovered, as we all did, that the only way to survive a thing like that is to stick together and do the small things that add up to a big effect. In the last 6 months, people in Newtown all across Connecticut who were moved by what happened have seen each other not as strangers, but as people struggling to grapple with the unthinkable. We all stepped outside the confines of our compact, neatly manicured lives, and we tried to a little bit better understand the plight of our neighbors. What happened in Newtown was people just did small things that mattered. It was a driveway that was shoveled for the elderly neighbor next door that you might not have done before that. It was the concern for local businesses that prompted more people to go buy stuff from the small businesses in Newtown rather than going to the big box stores. It was the decision of people to finally sign up for that mentoring program that they had been putting off and putting off. It was the accumulation of all these small acts that helped move forward the process of healing. And so there's a bright, shining lesson in this for all of us. You're going to take this amazing degree that you get here today from the University of New Haven, and you're going to do something great with your life. You're going to pursue the career of your dreams. You're going to be able to have the resources to build a wonderful, loving family. But while you're busy living your life, remember that small stuff. The ordinary acts of kindness that might not mean much to you, it can have a potential transformative impact on the people that you touch. Now, I know that that's not a foreign concept here at the University of New Haven, so maybe I'm preaching to the choir. For instance, I'm so proud of the work that the Honor Society for Experimental Education does here at UNH, because it's built around this idea that some of the most enriching learning experiences are lived outside the classroom through community engagement and work integration. You're already setting the foundation for your graduates to go out in the world and do the big things, but also do the small things as well. And so the last 6 months for me have been the most challenging that I've faced as a public servant. I've seen awful things, but I have also been inspired to live a life full of more everyday acts of small kindness than the one that I led before December 14th. And so I'm going to end by telling you maybe a story that lends the greatest example of what small things mean when you don't even know it. I want to go back to that little boy, Daniel Barden. Daniel, whose memory has sparked thousands of these small acts all across this country. But it was the last few gestures of his life that made the biggest difference for his family. Daniel was the youngest of 3 kids. He was one of the children who died that day in Sandy Hook Elementary School. But he was normally the last to wake up in the morning because all 3 kids took 3 different buses. And so he didn't normally get up until his other 2 siblings had already left for the day, and he normally got up just in time to get out the door. But for some reason, on the morning of December 14th, something totally unique happened. Daniel woke up a lot earlier than he ever had before, all year. He woke up early enough that he got to come downstairs and have a bowl of oatmeal with his mom while they talked. He was early enough that morning so that he even had extra time to sit at the piano beside his dad so his dad could teach him how to play Jingle Bells. And he had enough time to run down the driveway as his brother was getting on the bus for school to hug him and say goodbye. Now, I don't tell you that story to make you sad. It is a sad story. I tell you the story as the Bardens tell the story to bring you some measure of joy. Because it was those small acts, a song at the piano, time for a chat over breakfast, a hug, that allowed Daniel's family to smile a little bit more broadly when they think of him. 3 tiny acts that in some small way have changed the lives of the family members that he left behind. And so I guess that's my challenge for you here today. Do the big stuff. You have greatness inside of you by virtue of the fact that you've made it this far. You are going to make a difference. But as the poet William Wordsworth said, you knew you weren't going to get a graduation speech without a quote, right? He said, that best portion of a good man's life, his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love. Do those things, and you will truly, truly be great. Congratulations to today's graduates, to your families, to the faculty and staff at the University of New Haven for making today happen. Have a wonderful, wonderful graduation day.
Thank you, Senator, for that exceptional talk. And I think your message was clear, simple, concise, and very powerful. I think the students and all of us will remember what you had to say. The candidates for the honorary degrees will now be presented in the order listed in the program. I have the privilege of presenting Senator Chris Murphy for an honorary degree. The citation reads as follows. Christopher Murphy, dedicated public servant, champion for ethics reform, staunch advocate for children and the disenfranchised. Last November, you were elected to the United States Senate, becoming the nation's youngest senator at age 39. You provide critical expertise as a member of the Senate's Foreign Relations Committee and the Joint Economic Committee. Previously, you spent 3 terms representing the people of Connecticut's 5th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives. There, you helped establish policy as a member of several influential committees, including Foreign Affairs and the Committee on Financial Services. Most notably, you established yourself as a champion for ethics reform and helped shape the independent Office of Congressional Ethics, which was passed into law in 2008. Throughout your career, you have been an outspoken and passionate voice for the disenfranchised, the working class, and those in search of affordable housing. You authored and helped pass the Frank Melville Supportive Housing Investment Act, which increased the amount of affordable supportive housing available for individuals with disabilities. Prior to your service in the United States Congress, you were a member of the Connecticut General Assembly for 8 years. As a state senator, you served as chairman of the Public Health Committee and authored legislation that created the Office of Child Protection. After graduating with honors from Williams College and earning a degree at the University of Connecticut School of Law, you practiced real estate banking law until 2006 as a member of the firm Rubin, Johnson & Morgan in Hartford. Christopher Murphy, in recognition of your years of dedicated public service, your unwavering advocacy on behalf of the most vulnerable in our communities, and your leadership role in shaping the policies that govern our nation, the University of New Haven is pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Senator Chris Murphy has been duly recommended by the Selection Committee to receive an honorary degree from the University of New Haven. I now will bestow upon him the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Senator Chris Murphy, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations. It is now my pleasure, whoops, I'm reading the board chair's lines. It's now my pleasure to introduce the chairman of our board, once again, Philip Bartos.
It is my pleasure to present Rosa Gatti for an honorary degree. Ms. Gatti recently concluded a 33-year career at ESPN, retiring as Senior Vice President, Communications Council, and Corporate Outreach. Along the way, she forged a reputation as one of the sports industry's pioneering female executives. The citation reads as follows: Rosa M. Gatti, pioneering sports industry executive, strategic communications authority, trailblazing college athletics administrator. You recently retired as Senior Vice President, Communications Council and Corporate Outreach, concluding a remarkable 33-year career as a top executive at ESPN, the leading global sports media company. You rose from being one of the only women working in the sports business to becoming one of the most influential voices at ESPN, one of the biggest brands in sports. Within a year of joining ESPN, you were named a vice president. Later, you became a senior vice president and took over the company's corporate outreach efforts. You directed campaigns to benefit the Special Olympics, the Bristol Boys and Girls Club, and disaster relief efforts around the world. More than 20 years ago, you started ESPN's Diversity Committee, which has led to the company having one of the most diverse workforces in the media industry. Before you blazed a trail for women at ESPN, you were a part of the first fully coeducational class at Villanova. 2 years after graduating, you were named Villanova's Sports Information Director, becoming the first woman to hold that position at a major college. You held the same role at Brown University before joining ESPN. You are also a dedicated volunteer in the community. A member of the University of New Haven's Board of Governors, you also graciously offer your talents to the V Foundation for Cancer Research, the Franciscan Life Center, in the Henry C. Lee Institute of Forensic Science at UNH. Rosa M. Gatti, in recognition of your accomplished career helping to build one of the most successful television networks in the world, your status as a role model for women, and your trailblazing career in college athletics, the University of New Haven is pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, honoris causa. Mr. President, Rosa Gatti has been duly recommended by the selection committee to receive an honorary degree from the University of New Haven. I now ask you to bestow upon her the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, honoris causa.
Rosa Gatti, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, honoris causa. Congratulations.
I have the privilege of presenting Steve Tagliatela for an honorary degree. Mr. Tagliatela is the co-owner of Saybrook Point Inn and Spa and the Saybrook Point Marina. He also helps direct the Louis F. and Mary A. Tagliatela Family Foundation, a generous supporter of the University of New Haven, and is a member of the University of New Haven's Board of Governors and the Center for Family Business. The citation reads as follows: Stephen Tagliatela, visionary entrepreneur, thought leader in environmentally friendly solutions, generous philanthropist. You are the co-owner of Saybrook Point Inn and Spa in Connecticut's only waterfront AAA 4-diamond destination resort and restaurant, and the Saybrook Point Marina, the state's only 5-bell marina. You also serve as principal of the Franklin Enterprise, a construction development and real estate company started by your grandfather nearly 100 years ago. The overarching focus throughout your business venture is protecting the environment and developing innovative solutions to go green. As a result, the Saybrook Point Inn and Spa was the first full-service hotel in Connecticut to be given an Energy Star rating from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Saybrook Point Marina was the first to receive the Certified Clean Marina Award from the Connecticut Department of Environmental and Energy Protection. You were the driving force in establishing the Connecticut Green Lodging Program, and your inn was the first to receive the program's acclaimed certification. Most admirably, you have overseen the installation of solar thermal panels on apartment buildings owned by the Franklin Enterprise, which has helped supply 700 families in the New Haven area with hot water through renewable energy. A graduate of the University of Miami, you continue to illustrate a remarkable commitment to giving back to the community through your work with the Citizens Advisory Committee of the EPA Long Island Sound Study and Katharine Hepburn Art Center. Your family has been a longtime benefactor of the University of New Haven. You continue this strong tradition by graciously dedicating your talents as a member of the university's Board of Governors and UNH's Center for the Family Business. Stephen Tagliatela, in recognition of your accomplishments, your career as an entrepreneur, your pioneering work in developing environmentally friendly initiatives, and your philanthropic contributions to higher education, the University of New Haven is pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, honoris causa. Mr. President, Stephen Tagliatela has been duly recommended by the Selection Committee to receive an honorary degree from the University of New Haven, I now ask that you bestow upon him the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, honoris causa.
Stephen Tagliatela, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors, I am pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Business, honoris causa. Congratulations. Before I introduce our next speaker, I want to take a moment to recognize someone who's joining us here today in honor of Stephen being honored. And that's someone who, when I first got here 9 years ago, along with the rest of the family, including Stephen, helped my presidency get off to an incredible start and helped us do so many of the great things we're doing at the university and have done since then. Joining us today is Stephen's mother at the back of the room, Mary Tagliatela. Mary, God bless you and thank you for joining us. I would now like to introduce John Colmoni, who will offer remarks on behalf of the student body. John is president of the Graduate Student Council, graduating today with a master's degree in forensic science. John?
Good afternoon, graduates, family, friends, faculty and staff, President Kaplan, members of the Board of Governors, and distinguished guests. It is my honor to greet you today as we mark the great achievements of my fellow graduates of the University of New Haven. In my time here, one attribute of the graduate student body in particular struck me, and that was its diversity. I'm not referring necessarily to the cultural diversity imparted by the brave students who have come here from all over the country and from all over the world. Instead, I point out that our class is comprised of students from all walks of life whose studies have concentrations I would have never imagined before coming here. Some of you, like me, began your master's program right out of undergrad, perhaps fending off getting a grown-up job for a few more years. Others have families and may already be professionals in their fields, and who have unique experiential insight to offer in the classroom. You don't often find that assortment of peers in undergraduate studies, and here in graduate school, it has provided an exciting preview of what lies ahead. Looking back at my time at UNH, were it not for the extracurricular opportunities afforded by the campus atmosphere, I would not have known many people outside of the 15 students in the forensic science criminalistics program. It occurred to me that as my academic specialization narrowed, so might the number of people I'd meet. I think it will be much less likely that I will run into someone with a degree in sports management when I'm working in a crime laboratory. There will no longer be pre-designed occasions for us to mingle with people of other professions, occasions like the always entertaining and informative graduate student council meetings, or one of the countless other campus events of which we are notified. Although, I would be lying if I said I will miss the constant influx of multiple emails per day to my inbox. Faculty members, you know who you are. My message, graduates, is this. Whether you took advantage of all the UNH community had to offer or not, as you leave university life, the opportunities for you to encounter people with vastly different perspectives may dwindle. Do all you can to seek new experiences and be open to fresh ideas, differing opinions, and foreign concepts. Colleges promote this attitude because it helps us to grow both professionally and personally. And I hope that you will all approach all of your future ventures in the same spirit. Best wishes, and congratulations again to the graduating class of 2013.
Thank you, John, for your remarks. It is now my pleasure to introduce the President of the Alumni Association of the University of New Haven, Mike Ambrose, who received his Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering from UNH in 1984. As the President of the Alumni Association, Mike will welcome you to your new and duly earned status as alumni of the University of New Haven.
Hi. President Kaplan, Chairman Bartels, members of the Board of Governors, members of the faculty, staff, family, and friends, good afternoon. And to the class of 2013, congratulations on completing your degree. You are now part of a community of nearly 50,000 University of New Haven alumni, and I welcome you. Now, I offer to each one of you, that even though you have completed this important phase of your life and you're preparing for the next, your journey with UNH is just beginning. I can say this based on my own personal experience and those of so many other UNH alumni who have already made a lifelong commitment to UNH. For me, the decision to remain an active part of the UNH community has always been a very easy one. I have and always will have a deep sense of gratitude and appreciation for the role that UNH has played in my life. And I also know from personal experience that there are many, many UNH students and alumni with stories very similar to mine. Even though UNH has grown significantly over the decades, it has retained a cultural DNA that focuses on the individual, preparing each of us to be successful in our chosen careers and also as citizens. It is this commitment to the individual that today is one of the pillars of the Alumni Board. We know how challenging today's job market is for you graduates. We also recognize that to be successful in today's global economy, you need a global support network. With these facts in mind, the Alumni Board is actively working with the university to reach out and establish national and eventually global networks to help our new and even not so new graduates. I know that there are recent graduates in the audience today who have benefited directly from networking involvement with the Alumni Board. The sense of giving back by helping our alumni community is contagious, and it is even a lot of fun. It is something that I hope each of you will embrace as part of your lifelong journey. So on behalf of the nearly 50,000 UNH alumni, I offer my congratulations on completing your degree, and I also encourage you to maintain and nurture your relationship with UNH throughout your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. The Provost, Daniel May, will now present the candidates for academic degrees as a group, and the President will confer the academic degrees en masse. Once this has been accomplished, the respective deans and associate provosts for graduate studies will then present individual candidates to the President. Kindly hold your applause until all the degrees have been awarded to the candidates. We also request that graduates and their families remain in their seats until the ceremony is completed as a show of respect for the achievement of those receiving degrees today.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present the candidates for academic degrees. I ask that they rise and remain standing until their degrees have been conferred. We have a mix of undergraduate and graduate degrees being conferred this afternoon. We have 88 candidates from the colleges of the university in the undergraduate areas. From the colleges of arts and sciences, 27 in number, please stand. From the colleges of business, 15 in number, please stand. From the Tagliatela College of Engineering, 3 in number, please stand. From the Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Science, 43 in number, please stand. And we have 378 candidates in the graduate school. For the Master of Arts, 37 in number, please stand. For the Master of Business Administration, 63 in number, please stand. Please remain. For the Master of Public Administration, 8 in number, please stand. And for the Master of Science, 279 in number, please stand. These candidates have completed their prescribed courses of study. They have been examined and recommended by the faculty. Mr. President, I now ask you to confer on these candidates their respective degrees for which they are qualified.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors of the University of New Haven, I hereby confer on each of you the degree for which you have been recommended and admit you to the rights, honors, and responsibilities of educated men and women. During the presentation of the diplomas, you in the audience will note that a diploma may be presented to a student by a parent or family member who is also a member of the UNH community. This is a university tradition that signifies a unifying of all of our university constituencies. Graduates, for now, please be seated.
Mr. President, as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, it is now my pleasure to present the individual candidates for their degrees.
Esteban Munaz.
Devon Moore.
Malcolm Barrow.
Greg Schmeitzel.
Bushra Hanif.
Alessandra Fideli.
Christina Joseph.
Matthew Vagnini.
Nelson O'Donovan.
Anthony Galindo.
Jeffrey Murphy.
Nicholas Lobosco.
Timothy Curtin.
Tanya Bernardino.
Stefan Askew.
Stephanie Gilmet.
Edward Smith.
James F. McCardle.
Matthew Ali.
Brian Moriarty.
Dominic Giamatti.
Demetrius Washington Ellison.
Alexis Willoughby.
Calvin Willoughby.
Tiffany Kubik.
Rachel Sherry.
Molly Wakefield.
Xavier Atienza. A round of applause for the students of the College of Arts and Science, please.
Mr. President, as Dean of the College of Business, it's my pleasure to present the individual candidates for their degrees.
Kamika Hewitt.
Nikita Reddy, cum laude.
Kara Szymanski.
Ayana Duncanson.
Camille Lashley.
Nicholas Music.
Dalia Ventura Neves.
Stefania Dinora Russo.
Brittany Fauner.
Denise Garcia.
Julissa Maria Soto.
Jeff Malka.
How about a round of applause for the students from the College of Business?
Mr. President, as Dean of the Tagliatela College of Engineering, it gives me pleasure to present the individual candidates for their degrees.
William Leach.
Hao Tien.
Yesenia Jesus. Santos.
A round of applause for the students of the Tagliatela College of Engineering.
Mr. President, as Dean of the Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Sciences, it is my pleasure to present the individual candidates for their degrees.
Angela Chavo.
Mark Rivera.
Patrick Smith.
Daniel O'Brien.
William Lynch.
Raymond Ing.
John Samsel.
Kevin Gorowski.
Gregory Prouse.
Matthew DeBiase.
Christopher Maleti.
Mohammed Al Abdul Jabbar.
Michaela Brennan.
Christopher Piso Russo.
Matthew Pagali.
Thomas Hurd.
Brian Anthony Iorona.
Kayla Ramos.
Henry Bonner.
Wendy Ardizona.
Michael Torgerson.
Stephanie Casto.
Marisladia Armaballs.
Nicole Gargano.
Ainsley Kilgore.
Brian Holod.
Sarah Parker.
Brittany Kerr Williams.
Heather Thomas.
Danielle Anthony.
Timothy Causey.
Scott Robert Lowry.
Harriet Holder.
Catherine Matteo.
Andre Graham.
Christopher Trochet.
Paige Wilson.
Ashley Streeter.
Janika Benson. And a round of applause for the students from the Henry C. Lee.
Mr. President, Professor O'Connor and I have the very great pleasure and high honor to present the individual candidates from the graduate school. Khalud Babatin.
Arej Bawaje.
Paul Chadburn, Jr.
Rodway Ali Hussein.
Ge Chin.
Yu A Sun.
Yu Gan.
Li Wei Wang.
Melinda Flores.
Amir Al-Kawadi.
Mustafa Al-Mubarak.
Robert Felder. Muhammad Saleh Al-Osef.
Lorna Smith-Palmer.
Pasquale Parati.
Anthony Carlino.
Jonathan Davis.
Geraldo Arce.
Teresa Maynard.
Chelsea Keel.
Laura Korn Prescott.
Elise Cooper.
Leanne Morgan.
Maysoon Chawich.
Imad Rezagi.
Myrnis Jusic.
Kelly Levinson.
Robert Martin.
Marissa Figuera.
Jonathan McCoy.
Cedrica Morabu.
Michelle Beglain.
Lucia Combo.
Ojan Alap.
Arzu Inan.
Celine Peñez.
Busra Deniz.
Ali Al-Bayati.
Anwar Al-Rawali.
Khalid Al-Harti.
Maria Singer. Majed Al-Amiri.
Muhammad Alusi.
Ahmed Al-Hassani.
Mazin Alamadi.
Omar Al-Surai.
Michael Buccetti.
Dory Welsh.
Lauren Yannicki.
Alexa Menacci.
Caitlin Mullerin.
Carissa Sobosinski.
Nicole Petrelli.
Amelia Bernardi.
Alicia Hope.
Hillary Lloyd.
Brett Herbst.
Paul Schiller.
Jessica Sims.
Amy Moore.
Kayla White.
Ashley Moulton.
Tabor Chikakli.
Susan Davis.
Dennis Pisano.
Alana Billups.
Pamela Dixon.
Ashley Comer.
Yanira Crespo.
Lisa Scranton.
Kara Turman.
Juliet Wasilevich.
Deirdre Stowe.
Carol Merritt.
Enirta Abasi George.
Alicia Finlay.
Heather Pike.
Abdullah Agar.
Mbia Gulus.
Rebecca Skoglin.
Kristen Myers.
John Culmone.
Kathleen Barra. Jesse Hammond.
Kaylee Ferrara.
Shayna Sochi.
Kathra Hudenpile.
Jeffrey Duquette.
Bashara Al-Dahiri.
Iman Al-Sarhani.
Iman Al-Jamili.
Rawan Badres.
Anya Miles.
Nihit Dasiri.
Joseph Timon.
Yanni Kong.
Yiyu Rui.
William Kucher.
Abdullah Al-Yami.
Khalid Al-Shamrani.
Shushe Ilu.
Maher Hussein.
Suli.
Henry Diggs. Kevin Henry Diggs.
Derek Rotondi.
Roger Thomas Glynn, Jr.
Jing Peng.
Abdullah Al Mahabub.
Rahul Lal.
Yatin Vinud Motwani.
Rudolph Duran.
Fahad Al Hodib.
Akmam Chaudhry.
Taiwal Yu.
Venu Madhav Nardella.
Sivaprasad Yernani Kaga.
Pavan Reddy Tumuru.
Surya Abhinav Sripati.
Venkata Padma Sharisha Inumarti.
Terrence Joshua Thomas.
Prudvi Reddy Adapa.
Avinash Tuta.
Prajana Jaykumar.
Sam Tinu Dorati Edward. Bharath Cherukuri.
Chaitanya Jalakam.
Dinesh Manukoti.
Shruti Dadi.
Ying Ying Mai.
Veronica Powell.
Majid Al Homim.
Mohammed Al Gamadi.
Saud Al Abudi.
Yesenia Sainz.
Rebecca Brinker.
Christina Petrucci.
Sarah Moore.
Cassandra Scroll.
Khalid Al Moammar.
Jonathan Epperson.
Robert Burnson.
Christina Sovereign.
Mary Schaefer.
Jesse Simpson.
David Hendricks.
Jakarim Vongsha Valitkur.
Jia Chen.
Simum Shabab.
Ryan Griffin.
Leadham. Kirsty Leadham.
Bridget Brady.
Nijing Zhang.
Obidawali Ogundimu.
Sung Sai.
Chan Liu.
Sandeep Kaur.
Victoria Ulhorn.
Kushbush Bu.
Gloria Frankson.
Stephanie Johansson.
Martin Belsky.
Ying Ding.
Enji Huang,
Hao Tian Du,
Danielle Dazir,
Danielle Moore,
Lan Wong,
Harika Kuchiapudi,
Emily Japs,
Wai Ying Chen,
Sayed Mohammed Salehi,
Barroso, Hugo Chavez Barroso,
Puya Mir Mahoob,
Mark Schnahorst,
Xiao Chao Zhang,
Sushan Ma,
Wen Li Wong,
Giuseppe Bonanata,
Emily Newbury,
Sharon Salem,
Mengjuan Wang,
Yu Wang,
Zichen Guo,
Yibo Li,
Choi Gai Lovala,
Rochelle Pryor,
Yesha Vadodaria,
Pavitra Kanan,
Chi Ren,
Chen Chen,
Ying Lin, Jia Shi,
Tong Fu,
Latasha Smith,
Leon White,
Ashley Siliberti,
Michaela Rando,
Jaidala Codrington Payat,
Wei Zhao,
Ming Yang,
Jun Ma,
Tirsa Nelson,
Ryan Bartos,
Stacy Daniels,
John Loud,
Christina Marie Cicero,
Lisa Whitfield,
Chu Yen Ao,
Albert Bassett,
Tiffany Du,
Erica Rosenfeld,
Janice Rosenfeld,
Lena Chan,
Munir Al-Tali,
Suman Palakanda,
Anchai Sharma,
Divya Barugu,
Priyanka Annabelle Theophilus,
Bharath K. Shakumar,
Akila Pururi,
Venkata Arun Timaruju,
Lalrisanga Chongtu,
Prashanth Tumula,
Duo Yu,
Jisheng Lei,
Xiao Song Fu,
Zhao Bo Dong,
Zhong Wei Chen,
Yang Shu Wang,
Sudan Yadav Selvamani,
Misha Hazel Smithen,
Alicia Griffin,
Cindy Leger,
Andrea Chowning,
Lisa Abatante, Ying Han,
Anisha L. Simpson,
Francis O'Brien,
Samantha Maceda,
Gerald Moust,
Jennifer Finnegan,
Carol Maite,
Shanice Wheeler,
Asmaha Al-Asiri,
Fad Jadoun,
Haltan Fuad Kwarut,
Ayman Al-Bihani,
Abdullah Mohawish,
Arib Alamer,
Wed Abdali,
Arwa Moabir,
Stella Dane,
Elizabeth Kelbley,
Megan Plumeri,
Mirka Saran,
Bethany Huard,
Christopher Moyes,
McCarthy Breedy,
Zayad Al-Khatani,
Laura Anderman,
Rose Alfieri,
Janixia Reyes,
Christina Foy,
Asia White,
Michael Shea Fisher,
Nicholas Gentile,
Catherine Thomas,
Margaret Henriquez,
Michal Al-Saab,
Listra Julian,
Ling Ding,
Benyi Du,
Megan Scanlon,
Caitlin Latora,
Alia Al-Salim,
Crystal Ocasio Barron,
Maria McKinley,
Michelle Gilday,
Shuang Wu,
Shangji Cheng,
Kongwu Lu,
Noaf Salal Al-Shadwiki,
Waad Nadim,
Allison Lambert,
Osama Khader,
Mohammed Al-Tanaji,
Masood Al-Khatani.
Muhammad Al-Say.
Ramia Kanti Bajam.
Navya Konde.
Patrick Ryan Carlton.
Lisa Momeka.
Terry Purcell.
Elizabeth McLean.
Olivia Simone Jefferson.
Arnea Needleman.
Xiao Yun Huang.
Shou Han Yi.
Hector Romer.
Ryan Davis.
Roger Williams.
Michael D'Angelo.
Brett Perrone.
Mario Donini.
Tanya Rucker.
Helene Arcirio.
Barbara White.
Deneen Baxter.
Jason Malia.
Sonia Nobriga.
Luis Guerrera Jr.
Charles Torrey Jr.
Tushar Manubai Patel.
Shu Kai Cheng.
Mustafa Hamada.
Charles Sukala. Brian Rickey.
Carolina Marrero. Amrit Dundu.
Ernest Dorleen.
Bernadette Orend.
Orapina Sunatunton.
Jennifer Federico.
Joseph Stephen Parada.
Joseph Crudo III.
Gloria Amanfo.
Zechuan Yi.
Jorge Villegas.
Gary Mason.
Rachel Fulton.
Michael Cleary.
Maria Soto Cleary. Raj Muni.
Namajiri Lakshmi Venkatana Rashiman. Parthiban Janarathatan.
Shantush Bhuttagowda.
Rahul Tripuraneni.
Abdullah Sikandar.
Lingaraj Mahantapa.
Ali Nimir.
Anastasia Mikaleva.
Ambrose Najoku.
Opeyemi Sonusi.
Fungjos Jiang.
Meng Sui Wu.
Lin Yao.
Yu Song.
Jianing Lu.
Ming Chu Wang.
Yu Chen.
Wenjia Yu.
Reginald McBurrows.
Faisal Al-Ghamdi.
Afnan Husani.
Shema Al-Malki.
Azma Al-Sahani.
Venkatesh Jupali.
Dinashrede Kunduru.
Srinivasa Rao Balusu.
Bhagya Deepti Kudoyando.
Saraswati Nerusu.
Jincheyan Yan.
Debbie Idris.
Muhammad Mubarki.
Arwa Al-Hazmi. Please join in congratulating all of our worthy graduates.
You're almost, but not totally there. So don't congratulate yourselves yet, but that was a good preliminary congratulations. So between this morning's ceremony and this afternoon, I have watched 1,300 individuals come up to this stage, and I've watched this incredible look of excitement, enthusiasm, gratitude, passion, optimism, beaming out of your faces. And all I can tell you is capture that moment the way you feel right now. And if you do nothing else leaving this institution, and I'm sure you'll do many, many fine things, recalling Senator Murphy's commencement comments about making a difference, showing compassion, and doing something good. Remember how you felt today on this stage, and try to help at least one other individual in the course of your life to walk across a stage like this where they otherwise might not have been able to. Just help someone else go to college that right now you know doesn't have the opportunity. And we'll be grateful to you, and we hope going forward you'll be grateful to us for this experience. So, having said that, we're almost at our conclusion. For those of you who are in the audience as guests, as well as, of course, the students, we ask all members of the audience to remain in their places until first the stage party has left the auditorium, and then the graduates, who will then be followed by all of you, our guests. But before we recess, I want to take a moment to thank our staff and all of our wonderful volunteers for making this such a special day for all of you. Please, let's thank the faculty, staff, and volunteers. Arranging an event of this magnitude is an incredible amount of time and energy, vision, and hard work by many people. In particular, there are 3 people in my office who put a lot of time and energy over the past 3-4 months into making this such a success for all of you. Jill Samparo, Jennifer Fasikas, and Gail Tagliatela. Let's thank them. And now the moment you've been waiting for. Graduates, as the final act of these ceremonies, to symbolize your rite of passage into the community of scholars, please move the tassel of your mortar board from right to left. My closing words were to ask you to join me in congratulating the class, but since you just did that, let's hear from the class one more time. Was this a good experience? Fantastic. We thank all of you, especially our graduates, for allowing us to be a part of your lives. We look forward to having you back on campus often, and we look forward to helping you in any way we can in the future. So that ends our ceremony. The stage party will leave, followed by the graduates, followed by all of you. Have a wonderful summer, and graduates, again, thank you for allowing us to be part of your lives, and congratulations.